Dr. Fletcher is a U of I grad, Rush Medical School, Walter Reed, and graduate of Berkeley. Any project that you can come up with, Martin Center, Allerton, U of I Athletics, he's involved in it. And it's just amazing how he gives back to his community. So great credentials and just a great guy. So I want to introduce the president of SafeWorks, David Fletcher. Give a big round of applause.
Well, thank you, Lou, for the great introduction. Lou's been a big influence on my life when I first met him in the mid-'70s after I graduated from the University of Illinois. He's certainly is definitely the Mr. Illini in my books, and so I was so honored when he asked me to come to your group and talk, and so it's just really an honor to be here. As Lou talked about, the reason I'm here is this university. I got my start in life here. I grew up in the western suburbs in Glen Ellen, came down here, and graduated. As soon as I got done at Illinois, I enlisted in the Army. I'm very proud that I'm a veteran. Most people don't know I'm a vet. I did 10 years active duty. I got a great education through the military. I was very fortunate to train at Walter Reed. That was during the start of the AIDS epidemic. If you remember the doctor who had all the scars during the pandemic with COVID, she was in my class. She was 2 years younger than me. She was as smart as can be. So just very fortunate with the training I got. So became board certified occupational medicine. I love the introduction about OSHA because I deal with OSHA every day. My whole specialty is about trying to keep workers safe in the workplace, and if they do get hurt, is getting them back to work as soon as possible. I'm also honored that I've got some people from Decatur, because actually when I got out of the military, I first started my career in Decatur back in 1986. So I came over here to Champaign in 2001 and opened up SafeWorks, and it's on North Market Street. I'm going to make sure that this works. So I am pretty unusual in this community. There's only 3 private practice doctors in this town. Everyone else is either with Christie Clinic or employed by Carl or OSF. So it's all I've known is being in private practice, and it makes me, I'm a businessman. I mean, it's healthcare, but I'm a businessman. I've got payroll to meet. Obviously got revenue to generate and so forth like this. And one of the smart things I did for myself was buy this building on North Market Street. It used to be Petrie Cooney. And so I converted it into a health clinic, and it's been the best thing I ever did to own my own real estate and have that equity build up and to have a location. And it's a great spot. I'll talk a little bit about some things we got going on in the future. But it definitely has helped me, people realize I've got roots in this community. I'm not going anywhere. I think it's one of the problems with a lot of medicine right now is you have doctors churn, they don't stay here in the community. And for me, this is my community, and again, my U of I connection. So we have a 15,000 square foot facility right behind Barnes & Noble, and it's a one-stop shopping for employers where we take care of a wide variety of problems and provide solutions for employers. Got X-ray of on-site physical therapy. My partner is ATI Physical Therapy. They're a national physical therapy business. They're there. I've got a medical massage place, tenant there. I've got some other doctors that rent space. So it just basically, it's a place where services are very much set up to provide fast tracking to deal with problems employers and workers will have. We also, a big aspect of what I do is drug testing. We have dedicated bathrooms for drug testing to make sure the chain of custody, there's no tampering and stuff like this. So that's a major service we do. So probably one thing different for me being a private practice doctor than being a Carl employed doctor, I pay property tax. I pay $60,000 a year to Champaign County. So that's how committed I am to the community. And I still do charity care. So, I don't particularly like writing that check, but I think it's my responsibility as a taxpayer. And so that does definitely differentiate me from a lot of other people in this community, that I do pay property tax. So services that we provide, to give you a little idea what my day-to-day practice is. Variety of services. These are some samples for some billboards I do in the community. Again, when you're in private practice and you don't have a $14 million marketing budget, you got to do things a little differently, be out there. And just, I'm honored to have this opportunity to talk to you and introduce myself, because that's what I have to do. I have to provide an opportunity to get the people to know what I do, what my staff does. And one of the things I'm really blessed with is I've got a great staff. I have had no turnover but one person earlier this year. Average tenure of my employees is 8.5 years. During COVID, we were open every day. I was lucky. I had to take care of essential workers. I took care of Rantoul Foods, kept them open with the pandemic. None of my employees suffered during COVID. I sort of had this COVID sort of identity crisis, because I didn't know what it was like not to have come to work. I came to work every day. My employees really appreciated it. No one got a pay cut, and I even made my 401k match on April 15th, 2020, which I'm really proud of. Got a great team, so it really helps me having very dedicated employees. Drug testing is a major aspect of what we do. Right now I do a lot of talks for supervisor training on reasonable cause, talk a lot about what's going out there in the marketplace. This community obviously has had a lot of change with the legalization of marijuana, and people don't realize that in Illinois employers can still not hire people that use marijuana. You can have a policy, a zero tolerance policy. For a while, a lot of employers looked the other way during the pandemic because they couldn't get workers, but now that's sort of changed. And there's a lot of studies that show that because of legalization of marijuana, there's been a lot more workplace accidents. I recently was honored by the chairman of the commission to do training for all the work comp judges about drug testing in the workplace and reasonable cause. An employer in Illinois can not pay benefits for an injured worker that that's intoxicated from drugs. So that's a big aspect of my practice, is drug and alcohol testing, doing reasonable cause stuff. I do a lot of fitness for duty evaluations on people. I recently have been doing a lot of stuff for American Airlines, believe it or not. I'm a senior aviation medical examiner. I've been since 1988. And American Airlines is out of Dallas-Fort Worth, and because of that connection, direct flight here, they send a lot of their employees to Champaign for me to see. So that's kind of for me, a really nice honor that they trust me. I do a lot of evaluations on physicians and their ability to work, and those are a little more challenging because I'm dealing with my peers. But our big thing is on injuries, and I am very passionate about taking care of injured workers, and I feel by giving them the best care and navigating through the system, I really benefit my corporate clients. It's very challenging when you get hurt on the job. You worry about your future, your income, your family. It affects all aspects of life, and it really is difficult for a lot of people out who do get hurt on the job to get through the system, and a lot of them have to get attorneys because they just have so many barriers. And so I've taken care of about 23,000 different individuals in the state of Illinois that have been hurt on the job, and so it's given me quite a bit of experience how to take care of injured people. And that's kind of what I do, is try to help my patients navigate through the Illinois work comp system and how they get through the system fast. Being an independent practitioner allows me a lot more flexibility. I am not confined to one healthcare system, where if you work for a big box clinic, they like to have you keep people within the system. I have the flexibility as an independent practitioner to send the best people. I use doctors at Carl, I use doctors at Christie. I have great relationships where I went to medical school in Chicago. I have people in St. Louis. It just depends on the particular problem. If I can't solve it, is try to get that injured worker to the best person to help deal with the problem. And our care model is, I treat my patients like they're professional athletes. And one of the nice things about this particular slide here is you may all recognize the guy number 11 right there. 20 years ago, almost had a national championship. So I've known Dee for a long time, huge fan. And he sought me out. Believe it or not, he needed a hip replacement in his 30s. And he didn't know where to go. And everybody said he was too young. And so I told him, hey, I gave you a couple different options. So I had him go see my buddy up at Rush, Scott Sporer, who operated my sister did a knee replacement, also did a knee replacement on George W. Bush. So that's a pretty good company there. And so Dee ended up having a hip replacement this year. And he was in horrible pain. He's the coach at Roosevelt right now. And one of the things I got him was an ice machine here. And it really, really helped him. But I do that for all my patients. I treat them like they're professional athletes. And so he really has wanted to help market my services just because he found it so different than he had some other healthcare experiences. But that sort of typifies what we try to do, is really assist in their rehab, get them better. And that's nice for me having physical therapy, because I see my patients every day back in the therapy area, and they're able to talk to me in between visits. I know what's going on. And obviously, Dee has a connection to the university like Lou and I do, and he's really trying to spend some more time down here in the Champaign, and I'm trying to promote potential having a statue for Dee, the famous Sports Illustrated picture with pumping out the uniform type of thing. He just really loves this university, and it's fun being out with him because everybody wants his picture taken with him. But he's a good example of what I do. Other specialty services, I talked about the FAA medical exams. We do a lot of stuff for OSHA. Then I do a lot of stuff for doing Department of Transportation physical exams, make sure people, bus drivers, are safe. And this is what I think I like to say why I'm different, is I'm independent. I'm not a big box clinic. I'm the owner. There's no bureaucracy. And, I'm on call. I get waking up in the middle of the night sometimes. And I know how to cut through the red tape. I know how to get through the work comp system. Work with adjusters, work with attorneys. And like I said, I'm very proud of the relationships I have from all over the state. And I've been able to develop a very high profile in the Illinois work comp system. And I'm really, really, blessed with the staff I have. And again, we just really, really try to give a care model that's different. So that's sort of I like to say what's about my clinic is different. Some community involvement, and I'm glad here today to be asked. And you've got a great organization. I think one point I want to make, this is our Trunk or Treat event. We just had this October 5th. You can see all the co-sponsors. One of the things I'm trying to do as a business owner on North Market Street is developing this trade association of businesses on North Market Street. It's got a great corridor to develop business. It's right off of I-57, right next to I-72. And so I put together this coalition of businesses like True Green across the street from me, Dennis Place. I've got the folks up the street as far as All Smiles Dental Clinic. We've also got the fitness place across the street from me. We're all just trying to recreate an environment that's inviting, and it's actually, the traffic counts on Market Street are unbelievable. Because of that, I recently sold some property I owned to a hotel. They finally are going to start construction. Stay Up Suites. It's going to be a 79-room hotel, and it's really necessary because there's no hotels on Market Street. And I also sold land to American Water. The water tower that's across the street from my office by Human Kinetics is natural life's about ending, and they needed to have a site close to there to build a new water tower. I sold them the land. They're going to build a new water tower. What a great thing for a business owner like me to say, what a landmark. I've got the water tower. You look for the water tower. But these are things I tried to do. I had some other offers for land, but I wanted to give back to American Water, and that was helpful. But the Trunk or Treat has been a great event. I'm on the OSF Community Council. I've been on since 2018. And then, again, a connection with Illinois Athletics. I'm a season ticket holder for football, basketball, go to the games, try to be out there and about. I'm going to go down to Orlando. I already bought some plane tickets anticipating they're going to be because I didn't want to have to worry about it, though I hope there's a charter. I did buy refundable tickets. But just the connection with the university. And one of the things I just did recently was a lot of fun because of my relationship with Dee. I took Dee, and everybody knows what a great season Luke Altmaier had as quarterback. Well, after he lost against Penn State, I was able to take Luke out with Dee because I wanted Luke to hear what it was like to be in a championship game. And it was, for me, as an Illinois fan, to see that and hear Dee talk about the North Carolina game. And he kind of nicknamed Luke Altmaier, he called him QB1. And Luke really liked that. It really was nice to hear. But I wanted him to hear how much the connectivity is with the university and how these relationships will last the rest of your life. Luke's from Mississippi, and I was very fortunate because of my work. I had to go out and examine somebody in Oregon for a expert witness case. I conveniently did the exam the day before the Oregon game. And I think I was very fortunate. I've got a couple of patients of mine that are parents of team members, and I got a great ticket. For some reason, I got this 42nd row ticket. I thought it was going to suck. I was in the first row of the Illini section, and so every time I was on TV, even though we didn't do all that well, people were seeing me. So just really the connection to the university, and I was very honored. Last year, the Iowa game, I was on the floor for Hero of the Game for my military service. Most people don't know I'm a vet, but I'm very proud of that. So just, I think the community involvement is critical. So I think other things kind of wrap up before I get into the baseball talk part is my leadership in the work comp system. I'm very much involved in the work comp system. I was very fortunate in 2016, Republican Governor Bruce Rauner appointed me to the work comp board. And then I was one of the few people that Pritzker then reappointed in 2020. So I served 2 terms in the Illinois Workers' Comp Board. I do a lot of training around the state on the work comp system. And one of the things I'm proud of, I worked hard to help Illinois' competitive edge on work comp. It used to be horrible. We used to be like in the top 5, 6, or 7 states in cost, and we've worked really hard. We're in the middle of cost now, and it's definitely something that really helps in the business environment, that it's not as an issue like it was 10, 15 years ago. And want to continue providing some leadership in that area. So do a lot of speaking around the state in my leadership role with the Med Society on workers' comp issues. Just briefly about leadership on drug tests, truck driving. I started the first training in the United States about certifying drivers. I was aghast at how horrible it was physicians were doing, making sure drivers were safe on the job and could operate a commercial vehicle safely. Did the first training in '95, got some changes on the regulations we're doing, and so it's something that I'm very proud of in my career, is making sure that there's an adequate vetting of drivers. It's also led to a lot of business opportunities because I do a lot of expert witness cases where a driver's been improperly allowed to drive and there's been some accidents. So just very passionate about this field. And again, it's all about public safety. Just a couple quick things, and we'll get to the baseball part about the future of SafeWorks. My other big project right now is Aunt Martha's. Aunt Martha's is a community clinic that is working to come to Champaign. It's sort of my legacy. If some of you know who Rod Sickler is something who runs a hair salon. It's sort of our legacy. And so we are about to do this expansion project. We're going to bring Aunt Martha's here for the community. There's huge need, underserved people, and this is a passion project for me. So I'm going to make a major investment in expanding the building, trying to help develop this, be their medical director, be out in the community, saying how important this is that we have this clinic there. It'll help the ERs for Carl and OSF. They get overrun by people that really don't need to go to the ER. And so this is sort of a big project I've got going on. So just really excited about the future. Carl's been supportive of this. Other people, some things, the hotel going up. Just, I've always had to have something to look forward to. And I like to tell people I'm just getting started in my career, and that's kind of how I feel. I've never enjoyed it more and have the energy level. So that's quickly about SafeWorks. Let me switch over to another topic and take some questions. I know you guys, I don't have much time, but I'll try to get through this. So Lou wanted me to talk about my baseball side project. which has been a fun thing. I started this project back in the early 2000s about trying to build a baseball museum in Chicago. Have not been successful with a bricks and mortar facility. I've come close a couple times. So right now it's an online experience, but we have done lots of events. Okay. So I bought in 2007, there's a famous baseball writer, he invented the statistic to save. He had a collection of books, 4,000 books and stuff like this. I bought his collection. It was probably the most best private baseball collection in the world. Right now it currently resides in my basement in Monticello. It's still waiting to go to a bricks and mortar facility in Chicago, but it's a fabulous resource. The books are signed by many authors. It's just tremendous. So one of the things I'm proud of in the project, if you know who Buck O'Neill is, Buck O'Neill is probably the most interesting person I've met in my life. He was like the Dalai Lama. And I did a documentary with a black filmmaker named John Lewis. We've done projects for 20 years. And I got to show the film at Cooperstown at the film festival. It was the same weekend that Billy Crystal did a showing on the movie 61. And it was really, really cool for me to, as a white suburban kid and went to U of I, to be able to present this film. And it's really got great critical reviews. It's online, available if you want to watch it. But it talks about the whole history of the Negro Leagues. And Buck O'Neill was the first coach, a black coach. Actually, the Cubs got him. He ended up recruiting Ernie Banks, Billy Williams, Lee Smith. And so something I'm really proud of that is lasting from this project. And then in 2012, I did this thing about this baseball player for Chicago, Dick Allen, right there, who had not really been given his due with the White Sox for saving the franchise. This gentleman here is Goose Gossage. He was a rookie on the team. This is Roland Heeman, who was the player personnel who assembled the team. So we brought them back. It was a great event. It was a lot of fun. And because of that, I developed a relationship with this guy. You know, he used to be, you know, I was a fan, and became when you meet your heroes. Well, he was actually better than I ever expected. He's a very complex human being. This book came out in 2022. It won second place for the best nonfiction book in Chicago. I was very blessed having Goose Gossage do the foreword. So very blessed how the book has gone. And then I have a book coming up for the Cub fans here, coming up called The Boys of Zimmer. It's about the 1989 Cubs. That's in the works. That was a team that has 3 future Hall of Famers. They surprised everybody and won the 1989 Eastern Division for the National League. Another book that was successful of mine that came out almost 2 years ago was a book about Joe Jackson versus the Chicago American League Baseball Club. If some of you are familiar with the Black Sox scandal, people don't realize that Joe Jackson, after he was acquitted in the criminal trial, ended up suing Charles Comiskey for his back pay. And so this was a transcript book. I have a follow-up book to this coming out, but it got great reviews. For me, doing a lot of medical legal work, it was an honor to have a book review in the American Bar Journal. So this is another part of the project. If some of you have heard of Buck Weaver was played by John Cusack in the movie 8 Men Out. Buck Weaver was thrown out of baseball. He was part with Joe Jackson. He was thrown out in 1921. The rest of his life, he tried to get back in baseball and clear his name. It's been a project I've been involved with. I actually represent his estate. Unfortunately, we've been not successful getting him reinstated. It's been a fun project. I've met a lot of people through it. So these are sort of the things I do for stress management. So I'll just real quickly bring this back to him. So tomorrow I'm going to Dallas. So Dick is on the Hall of Fame vote for Sunday. And I'll be with his son. Twice before he lost by 1 vote. I was there in the room. It was actually horrible. And I feel good about it this time. I feel like he's got a good shot. He should have been a long time ago. He's the best offensive player not in the Hall of Fame with the highest OPS, much better than every player of that era, Hank Aaron, Mickey Mantle, Willie Stargell. I could go on a list. He had the best stats. He's not gotten in a lot of it because of his image. Some people thought he was kind of a rebel, uncontrollable, and he played on several different teams. But in Chicago this year, 1972, there's a famous Sports Illustrated cover with him juggling baseballs and having a cigarette out of his mouth. Ironically, he died of lung cancer almost 4 years ago. But this is Nancy Faust, who most of you may know. She did Take Me Out to the Ball Game with Harry Carey, which she brought over to the Cubs. She also did Hey Hey Nah Goodbye. But what she's most proud of is the fact she invented walk-up music. So when Dick in 1972 would come to the plate, she'd play Jesus Christ Superstar. And it was tremendous. It would bring chills. And that was because they didn't have any music then. You had the organ, that was it. So this is a guy named Wilbur Wood who pitched 376 knuckleballer, 376 innings that year, 26% of the innings for the White Sox. Talked to him last week. He ended up he's still alive. He's in Boston. He started a doubleheader. That's correct. You got it. Yeah. Talked to him last week. He's going to come to Dick's Hall of Fame if he gets in. One thing really cool about Wilbur Wood, became a pharmaceutical salesperson. So he used to go to doctor's office and have his autographed pictures, and he'd be able to get into the office with that little trinket. And that's Harry Carey, who actually was a White Sox broadcaster before the Cubs. And the guy in the upper right is Mayor Daley, who I got the pleasure of meeting when I was in high school. So this book is not just a baseball book. It's about sort of a Black Lives Matter, history of Chicago story, and about how the franchise was saved. The franchise needs another Dick Allen. In 1970, the White Sox lost 106 games. Dick Allen came in 1972, saved the franchise. The fans came back. He had 3 great years, and the franchise needs another one. So that's sort of my quick baseball talk. Thank you.
Really appreciate your time.